Okay, the Arizona Wildcats skate by here, a victory with a victory. Arizona Wildcats 66, the Drexel Dragons 62. Um, the Arizona Wildcats they really were playing with fire here. Um, it was bad in the beginning because I think that the Drexel Dragons had was it 9-0? Drexel was up 9-0, or was Drexel beating Arizona 11-0? One of those two. I can't remember, but it was a lot. Drexel was they were they were doing great. Drexel, the thing about Drexel, and I think the thing that really hit Arizona is Drexel was really aggressive. They were very, very aggressive on the ball, and they played Arizona tight, and they weren't going to give up any. They weren't going to give up any easy shots or anything like that. And the Arizona Wildcats shot themselves in the foot because they they had I think it was 10 turnovers um, by the end of the half, or it was a huge amount, and nowhere near what Sean Miller would have liked. He of course he would like zero turnovers, but he got he he would be accepting of maybe 13 or 14 turnovers in a game, but the Arizona Wildcats had 10 turnovers, um, almost at the half. It was nasty, and the thing that I really saw that Drexel did really nicely is their assists. They had a ton of assists in the beginning, and T.J. McConnell, for the Arizona Wildcats, he's he's like Steve Nash. He's fantastic at assists. I've seen games where he's got 8 assists, 6 assists, 7 assists. He's done fantastic with assists, but he couldn't get warmed up. The Arizona Wildcats could not get warmed up, and that's why at one point the Drexel Dragons were beating the Arizona Wildcats by like 19 points. So you really see that the Arizona Wildcats have a dent in their armor right here because they were blowing out teams before, 20 points, 30 points, huge. They were beating the other teams like nothing, and they even beat San Diego State pretty nicely. They were doing pretty good against San Diego State, and it was supposed to be a tough game, but they let up their guard, and San Diego State came back, and ended up being a pretty close game. But the thing about Drexel, the thing about this game is that the Arizona Wildcats just weren't ready. They weren't aggressive in the beginning, and Drexel took it to them. They just, the Drexel Dragons have that guy Fouch, and he scored. He was fantastic. He ended up with 29 points in the game, and the Drexel Dragons had 62 altogether. So he scored almost half of their points. um, uh, Messinot also scored 17 points. Those are the two. Those were two big guys for the Drexel Dragons, and if the Arizona Wildcats could have learned something from this game, they should have learned that they really need to look at the big scores of the team, and a couple of the big scores were Fouch and Meskinot, because they were just, they scored, they almost scored 45, they almost scored 75% the whole team's points. In fact, I think they did. They scored more than 75% of the whole team, what the whole team scored, and they were knocking down 3-pointers, and we couldn't hit and the Arizona Wildcats couldn't hit 3-pointers to save our life, because in the beginning, I think at the end of the first half, I think we were 0 for 6 or something like that from 3-point land. It was pretty nasty. And York, he was having a hard time this game. He ended up shooting 0 for 6. Two of Gabe York's shots were 3-point attempts, and he missed both of those. But at the end, which is something that I think was important for him, very important for him, is that he made some free throws. He made both of his free throws at a clutch time right at the end, and that way it kept our lead up. I mean, because it was always we were like I said, we were down by like 19 points at one point. Arizona Wildcats were down by like 19 points at one time, but then they slowly started to eat away at the score, at that deficit, and the Arizona Wildcats were down by 9 at the half. It was Drexel Dragons 29 to the Arizona Wildcats 20 at halftime. And then the Arizona Wildcats, after a little bit, they went on like a huge run. It was like 11-2 run, and then after that, then it was like a 24-4 run, or 22-4 run, or just huge runs. They went on these huge runs, and one of the things that was really hard on Drexel was that they lost two of their big players because they were playing so hard. Drexel Dragons were playing extremely hard, and so some of those other guys that weren't Fouch, that wasn't Massignot, they had to pick up the slack, and the way they did that was they played very hard, very very tough, and whenever they did that, then one of them got a really bad. I think it was Massignot got a really bad cramp in his leg, and then there was the other guy. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was Lee from Drexel Dragons that got that. He might have tore something in his knee or something like that, because they were just playing really really hard, and this was a very tough game. This is a very street ball type of game, a very in your face type of game, and the Arizona Wildcats just weren't ready for it. And I mean, I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. 1 for 8 from Brendan Ashley. Uh, 2 for 6 from Aaron Gordon, and of course Gabe York. 0 for 6. That poor guy. That's too bad that he had a bad game. But Caleb Tarzewski, he really stepped it up, and he dominated down in the key, and that's what he was supposed to do. That's what 7 foot, and that was going to be one of our big advantages. One of the Arizona Wildcats' big advantages against the Drexel Dragons was because whenever they got Lee out, and another guy that they got out was Russick, I think. Ruffin from Drexel Dragons. He was also he's a big post player and also a fantastic rebounder. He ended up with 6 rebounds. But once you get those guys out of a game, then Caleb Tarzewski had his way right there down in the key, and he was making some fantastic some fantastic hooks. And one of the guys on the radio was saying, that they're good hooks because he, instead of doing hooks going out or fading away from the basket, he was doing hooks fading towards the basket. So it's even more of an aggressive play, and whenever you do that, then you even have more of a chance of getting that offensive rebound and doing a putback. Let's see, he had 4 offensive rebounds, and T.J. McConnell, like I was saying before, he had, there was one game where he had 8 assists, and then there was another game where he had 6 assists, and so he's been doing really, really good on assists. And this game he ended up with 3 assists, and actually the one that you got more assists from was Nick Johnson. Nick Johnson had 20 points, and he's just the Energizer Bunny in on this team, and I think that if the rest of the team team maybe can see him as a motivator, to keep playing hard, then the Arizona Wildcats will be able to win this game. Whenever they were down by 19 points, I really had a doubt. I really did have doubts in my mind. I just didn't think I didn't think the Arizona Wildcats were going to be able to come back from such a huge deficit. And they were, and I don't know if that's just because Nick Johnson just said, "Hey guys, we need to get our crap together and start playing ball, and just start being aggressive, because obviously the Drexel Dragons are being aggressive against us, so we got to be tough." But there's one good thing that I see, and that is the free throws. 76. The Arizona Wildcats shot 76% from free throw land, and I think that is the best that I've ever seen the Arizona Wildcats shoot from free throw land, from free throws. So maybe they got scared. Maybe the Drexel Dragons put a fire under their butt. Arizona Wildcats win this game. The final score, 66 of the Arizona Wildcats, and Drexel, 62. That was the Drexel Dragons. The Arizona Wildcats skate by here. A victory. Arizona Wildcats 66. The Drexel. Okay.